Meghan Markle here.
Today is October 21st, 2025. It is 1:54 a.m. I have a lot to share with you, and I have to finish record by 5 o'clock. A lot going on with me today, so let's get started. This is the first tweet. I think this is on X. When they type Meghan name on the search box, you see what popped up. It's a short video, 24 seconds. Okay, type Meghan Duchess of Sussex in the X search bar. Guess whose profile pops up? William and Kate's page. There's a slap in the face. Digital ecosystem aren't accidental. They're engineered to rewrite visibility. Kensington Palace digital PR and engagement team stay busy coordinating media posts with matching hashtags and metadata, so the algorithm keeps linking them. There's the slap in the face again. They know where the traffic is. There's the laugh here. Kendrick was right. They try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. All right. This is the, let me go to it really quickly. All right. Okay, as I'm going through it, look at the search bar here. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, she's gonna write here, and you're gonna see what popped up underneath. Alright, look. Alright. As you're typing Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, all you're seeing, it's the other brother's thing. Princess of Wales. Alright, let's look at some of the comments here. Let's pause that GIF. Damn, they really are fans wanting to ride her wave, not them popping up at number one. It's in their colonizer blood. Freaky ass weirdo. 100% bullseye. And I'm sure the Rangers will say it's because they used to share that account. But it doesn't happen when you type Prince Harry or Duke of Sussex, so that it's absolutely not the case. This is undoubtedly manufactured to redirect any attention on Meghan to them. This will be the last one, and then I move on, because the main focus here is gonna be mostly about the Andrew Epstein thing. When Meghan was trending in Paris, things about how high that global interest was, Bond was listed right under her, also trending with low numbers. Then on the weekends, I grabbed this screenshot. This, she pointed out. Well, I guess this is here. They aren't even hiding their BS. There's that here. Harry and Meghan. This how you know KP is paying to hit those two losers to our faves. Every other trending has numbers of posts listed except Egg and Bond, and they listed right after Harry and Meghan. Same thing happened when Meghan was in Paris. Bond was next listed trending. This is the last one. It's the desperation of William and Kate that's so nauseating. If they just got their act together and actually produced decent work instead hanging on to Harry and Meghan coattail. Yeah, they're doing everything around what they're supposed to do except doing the thing that they're supposed to do. All right, next week. All right, completely different topic here. We are starting to look into, I believe, the Andrew Epstein thing. Some more thing. Oh, maybe no. No. This is... the squad are talking about what Meghan went through. Quote, and I realized that I wasn't just being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves. Oh my God, I didn't know it was that long. Almost 2 minutes, there'll be screenshots, okay?
You would just see it play out. Like a story about someone in the family would pop up for a minute, and you go, gotta make that go away. But there's real estate on a website homepage. There's real estate there on a newspaper front cover. And something has to be filled in there about someone royal.
And then the bubble burst.
Duchess did American doesn't
No official word from the palace.
it was already clear to the media that the palace wasn't going to protect her. Once that happens, the floodgates open.
And I realized that I wasn't just being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves.
This is like the 50th time an affair has been hinted at. Something ain't clean in the buttermilk.
They're making deals potentially with the Rupert Murdoch Group, or that they're settling out of court.
Yeah, I don't like the idea, and I think you're absolutely going on, but I don't like the idea that they can pick and choose what we know about them. I mean, I understand that everyone's entitled to their privacy, but we saw with Harry and Meghan, for example, and Meghan's letter to her dad, and everything was just fed to the press, and they didn't step in there. They didn't use their special relationship with the press to protect her, which I think they should have done. And yet, we know about alleged affairs in other parts of the royal family that haven't come to light, probably because of their agreements. And that to me just sounds shady. Like, that isn't the behaviour of a monarchy.
William, Kate, very well respected. They make a round of people, and loads more people will obviously instantly step to the throne than Charles.
Or are they just better at hiding the truth? Because there are some quite fruity stories about William too.
Yes, not that we can go into detail
Okay.
here, obviously. Hello, lawyers.
I don't know. All the fruity stories.
There are very fruity stories about that. But this is not a battle, it's not a comparison.
Let's move on. We've done enough Harry and Meghan bashing.
You could pause and read. Okay, so that's that. Does foodie mean the same thing in the UK as it does in the USA? Like scandal, let's pause this. Like sand through the hourglass, these were the days of Meghan's life. Novels will be written, movies will be made, statues will be erected, a memorial library will be built, high school student will make a pilgrimage to the National Meghan Markle Shrine. Let's see here. Oh, I don't see the comment. And this is the thing. They were trying to write the narrative about Meghan. If the squad then do the pushback, the nonsense that they've been saying about her, that's what would have been stayed in the public domain. But the pushback, and also where Harry and Meghan did the docuseries to set the record straight, that will be in the public domain as well. Okay, so let's continue. Next tweet. Quote, I think now we are into the Epstein thing here. How many minutes? Oh, shoot, this one is almost 5 minutes. Many think one woman is paying the price for men's crimes, but it's Maxwell and Epstein who are abusing her. Virginia Giuffre's expose lays bare just how deeply involved Ghislaine Maxwell was in grooming women for Epstein. That's what I was trying to say in one of the videos I think I did yesterday, where one of the tweets were somewhat shifting the blame to, what's her name? Virginia Giuffre, saying like, where was the parents? Was she like a young lady who was out there with no guidance or anything like that? But these people, they know how to pray into things. From what I've heard, she had some issues at home with her parents. Her dad did some stuff. And then these predators, they see she has issues. And they lure her into Epstein periphery. And then to train her and put fear in her. And they did what they did. And we have to give her credit. May she rest in peace. She fought back. All right, but let's listen. 4 minutes and 16 seconds, screenshot in between.
What she describes is the really invaluable role that Ghislaine Maxwell played in creating this web of paedophilia. The idea that there was a woman involved with a posh voice, with a friendly manner, with beautifully manicured hands.
And also, there's one story within the Maxwell Epstein thing that I forgot the full detail of it, but there were two young girls who they lure in, and they had asked the parents permission to take the girls, and because Maxwell was there as a female, and I think the parents give the okay as the idea for for modeling or something like that, and then later on they find out that this is what they were doing to the girls. Okay. Yeah, you would think because this is a woman you will feel more comfortable, where the woman will look after the young lady, the girls, but instead she's part of the problem. All right, let's continue.
Made it all seem normal. And so every time she or the other women started to doubt themselves, there is this very vivid description of the first time she goes to massage Jeffrey Epstein, and it's Maxwell who says, oh, you know, put a dab of cream on your arm there when you're massaging, so that when you run out of cream you don't need to stop the massage, you just take it off your arm and go and start with his feet and push the blood up. And she shows Virginia how to do this massage on the feet and then the calves, and Virginia says, I didn't want to touch his buttocks, he's naked on the table. And Maxwell goes, oh, don't be silly, you can't be squeamish about this, otherwise the whole rhythm is lost. And you just get the sense of how Virginia was carried along with this. You know, she keeps looking at the woman, the Maxwell, going, oh, I'm being silly, aren't I? It's all fine. And it's Maxwell who says, oh, just take your clothes off, you know, so you'll be much more comfortable taking your clothes off. And so she plays an absolutely pivotal part in breaking down the defences that Virginia Giuffre would have naturally had as a young woman. It is Maxwell and Epstein that abuse her. It is Maxwell and Epstein that want to play sex games. I mean, they're not sex games, it's abuse and it's rape. Let's not call them that, but that's, you know, how it's described, you know, as it were, in the book.
You know what I'm getting from this woman here? Okay? This is a little psychology that is being played here. To let the public know that Andrew is not the problem here. They're shifting the blame onto Epstein and Maxwell. And I think this is why they have not let Maxwell out yet, so they could shift the blame to her while she's still in prison. All right? So what I'm getting from her here, and by the way, I think Virginia Giuffre's siblings, Virginia Giuffre's siblings were doing the round of promoting it. And I think it's through that book that she's making reference to. But what I'm getting here is that with this reporter, it's a psychology here that is being played here. To shift the blame away from Andrew and then blame it on Epstein, he's gone, and Maxwell, who is in jail, so they're shifting the blame to them. But at the same time, Andrew is a freaking grown man. He should have known. You don't do this with young kids like that. And the other issue some people are raising is that the age of consent. In the UK, I think it's 16, the age of consent, but you have to respect the law from other countries. And this is why he had the island to take the kids away. And I think he had a place in New Mexico. And the age of consent there, I think it's one of the lowest. So he probably did bring people to do things with kids around that age so they could be in that parameter. I'm telling you, they abuse the system. But let's continue. But her here, it's playing a psychology here with the public.
It is Maxwell that makes Virginia feel that if she says no, she's somehow, you know, overthinking these things. I thought you want to be a masseuse. Don't you want to be professional? Don't you want to learn? Don't you want to study? You know, I'm helping you. And she will describe how Jeffrey Epstein himself wants to be seen as a mentor, not a predator. After sex, he will start to describe to her, you know, how the markets work, or the Greek gods, or he'll tell her about the ways of the world. He'll tell her about art. And it's almost like he wants to be in this position of teaching rather than, you know, he doesn't want to think of himself as a predator. He wants to think of himself as somebody who's sort of elevating her, giving her these great chances, right? I mean, this is all stuff that we know, but it is frightening to suddenly understand just how powerful it was to have that extra woman.
I think what she will say is that, you know, there were no bars on the windows, there was no prison, but she was absolutely trapped by the sort of coercive control exerted by both Ghislaine Maxwell and by Epstein himself. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, has been moved to this lower security prison because, I mean, there's talk that it's possible that Donald Trump will pardon her, because Donald Trump has got his own problems as well with Jeffrey Epstein, that there are all these people in Congress who want the Epstein files to be released so that the public can see what has gone on. And you can see how much this is in the public interest. If there were all these rich and powerful men who were going to Epstein's island or being flown around by Jeffrey Epstein to get the favours of young women who are there kind of almost being trafficked, then sure, the public need to know this stuff. But of course, Donald Trump thinks that anything that comes out might reflect badly on him, and so doesn't want it to come out.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of people who, up to this point, sort of fell into the sort of school of thought, which is, you know, it's men's crimes and one woman is paying the price for it. And in Virginia Giuffre's account, what becomes much clearer is just how culpable Ghislaine Maxwell was.
The news agents.
Wow.
This is...
Wow. Yep, they're shifting all the blames to Ghislaine Maxwell only. And they're making Andrew sounds like he's innocent or something. All right, let's see what some of the comments here. Whatever's here, buy them up. Exactly. How well are Griffer's allegation backed up, as obviously nobody can sue her if they were false. Okay, Griffiths. Okay, how well are Griffiths' allegation backed up? Okay, Virginia Giuffre. She's dead now, so they were trying to silence her, but things still come out. This is a very clear explanation. Chilling. Which men were they grooming for, as no one seems to have been arrested? The powerful. This is why the thing is not out yet. All right, they're keeping it sealed. This is why so many people, the most powerful, were invested into having Trump as president. They want to make sure that doesn't come out. I don't even think those whatever files they have about the Epstein is still in existence. It's probably burned and done with. True, but she's the only one paying the price, as she should pay it. But the men involved need to also pay it. I just wanted to add, great job, Emily, and how you're conveying this. You do a great service to the women there. But like I said a few minutes ago, it seems like the blame is being thrown to Epstein and Maxwell only. Yes, they should. But the people, the men who are getting the services, knowing, okay, these are grown men. They knew. They were fully aware that these kids, where they were putting that thing in, were kids. It goes all around. The blame goes all around. They know, they should know common sense as well. They were doing things with kids. Yes, male abusers often use women to lure other women in. Maxwell just took it a step further by joining in on the abuse. And from what I've heard, is that Maxwell is the daughter of... please check the screen as I put some information regarding the connection of Robert Maxwell to Israel spy. Okay, check the screen. Some spy for Israel or something like that. They knew what they were doing. The thing that's going in the Middle East didn't just happen like that, where almost every country, people of power shut their mouth. You telling me these countries were not part of that as well? Those people in power? Sheesh. Okay. Maxwell is no different to the Georgian and Regency madams of yesteryear. There has always been a royal brothel or similar setups pimping our young girls to wealthy people. Alright, let's go to the next tweet. This is crazy. This is LBC. I think this is O'Brien. There's a lot of videos that's talking about that. Prince Harry faces relentless smears while his criminal guilty uncle is shielded by the monarchy and media. It's time to stop punishing Harry and start holding Andrew accountable. Alright, including Andrew. He's part of the problem. He should have known that where he was putting his things in were young kids. young girls that were almost the age of his daughters. All right, let's listen to that. 1 minute and 4 seconds.
I find it deeply, deeply obnoxious that the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, gets lumped in with his idiot uncle as somehow being problematic. A military hero who has done more to point out the corruption of the British media than almost anybody else in public life, being lumped in with a bloke who has been a disgrace to the family for decades is truly, truly absurd.
And I think they probably tried to get Harry into that mix, okay? But he saw the wrong in it. He didn't want to participate in it. And this is why they're going after him. And they wanted to use him as the shield for all of those other men that were doing, but he didn't fall for it. Okay? He didn't fall for it. This is what I've said. Whenever he does like an engagement for the monarchy, for the institution, he flies to Africa. Okay, the people that in Africa were treating him like just any other people, and people in Africa are more morally sound than the people in the UK and all those high-profile people that were his friends. Okay, so I think they really try to get him involved in the Epstein thing, but he didn't fall for it. And this is why I'm saying all the other men, like his uncle, should be held accountable for it. And there's that other guy, what is it, Snowden or something, I think. There's other people in the royal family that's part of it. But Andrew is the main one that his name is flying all over, and they're trying to shield him, but there are others in the royal family. They get him either through the Maxwell Epstein thing or some kind of money laundering and things like that. What's the newspaper? Byline have accused one of the other royal family. I think the one with the brooch, the husband. Okay, I think I spoke about it in one of my videos on APTS Sussex. Like back in 2022 or something, 2021, 2022. So they were entrapping all of these high-profile people whichever way that they can. So the mess that's going on in the Middle East could happen, so they could hold them accountable. If you don't allow this to happen, or we're gonna release your BS, the nonsense that they get them into. Oh my God. Let's continue. Men?
Actually mentioning the Duke of Sussex, Harry and Meghan constitute massive, massive news stories as well, because they offered such a wonderful opportunity to many members of the media to paint them as, or to essentially drive pages and pages, hours and hours of journalism motivated almost entirely by the fact that the one of the most senior members of the royal family had the audacity to fall in love with a woman of colour, something that drives a coach and horses, if you pardon the pun, through much of our establishment presumptions.
All right, so let's see. Let's read some of the... Well said, there's a real problem when people drag and call military heroes fraudulent and fake, when all the while brother, father, uncles are wearing some concoction of plastic medals they had made whenever they wanted a new one. Stolen valor, the most repugnant things a man could do. Well, with the fraudulent, fake, and all of that, where the media in the UK was calling Harry out, I didn't hear anybody said anything to make the besides the Sussex squad. Forget the Sussex squad is not part of this, but I'm talking more in the UK. If there was, I wasn't aware of it, who were in the UK to push back on the media for calling Harry fake and fraudulent and all of that, especially with what happened in Afghanistan and all of that. It's the media who paint Harry as a bad person. So when the media in the UK were going after Harry, calling him terrorist, all sort of name, like Harry was the most, like the number one enemy of the UK, I didn't see anyone who came out to defend him. there were some articles that I came across. What's this person? I think I remember the thumbnails of it. I think he wrote an op-ed about Harry. But in terms of the kind of support that Harry should have gotten, he didn't get it. But now, knowing what I know now with his issues with the tabloid, he's suing them, and Harry is still does his thing quietly in the background, and then when it's time to speak, he speaks. But his things is he deal with them in the court. So now, knowing what I know now, in 2025, after what he had endured since his mother, with his wife and children in the UK, I could see why these the media, the tabloid, were calling him out for being in the military and actually call him a traitor. It's because they had issues with them. They were propping up the haters to go after him. That's what it was. Now I understand. This is why they were doing all of this stuff. And they continue to do so. But what's happening now, people are awake with the help of the squad who help educate people how the media is doing their crazy stuff to go after people. And Harry knew that. When he said something, the media is a powerful force.
When I lost my mum 23 years ago, you took me under your wing. You looked out for me for so long, but the media is a powerful force.
He knew what he was talking about. So all the noise that they were making in the UK, especially when they call him a traitor and all of that, it's for other people because there's so many empty minds. Any nonsense you put in their head, they quickly absorb it and they act on it. These are the people the media was going for, the empty brain, who their brain are like a sponge, but they're full of hate. So the moment the media shift their brain into thinking something that's not really true, and they make them angry, and these are the people the media was going after. And thank God many of the squad who are into their religion, whatever religion that they are, and they will put out prayers for Harry and Meghan. As much as Harry is doing some of these things on his own, doing protecting his family, using his knowledge, being in the military, and all of that help. But the prayers is an extra protection for him and his family. All right, so let's get back to the original recording. All right, there's 2 comments under it here. Andrew served. He's still a shitbag, but he served. Yes, but Eddie, Willie, and Dad were fake made-up trinkets. Andrews also got a number of meaningless bubbles, but did he serve? Evidently, with a lot of unearned valor, fake elevated position. Let's see here. Virginia Guthrie fears she might die a sex slave at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein and his wealthy circle of friends. And my years, quote, and my years with them, they lent me out to score of wealthy, powerful people. I was habitually used and humiliated. Oh my God. Prince Andrew, this is what I'm saying. Those men, those old men, they know she was underage, but they still did it anyway. If I was Harry's brother, I would be helping him. That's what we thought. He made a pact with Harry, but he broke the pact anyway. Let's see here. There's 4 comments under it. He called William his arch nemesis, accusing him of marrying Catherine because she fits the mold, and then marry for love, and accuse her, as per Endgame book Dutch version, as racist. Yet he expect her and William to apologize to his wife. Yet he expect her and William. Well, William started all of that. Which was the thing? Endgame. So that's not from Harry's perspective. Endgame, they said the Dutch version. Okay, was that the part? Okay, the Endgame was written by Omid Scobie. And then in that Dutch version, okay, she said the Dutch version. All right. This was the part where, if I'm not mistaken, where some part in the book that the author said he didn't write it. But in all the other version, in terms of languages, it wasn't written in there. So they literally put this in there to give the excuse as if William should not be should not apologize. Okay, let me see if I could find something here. And oh my God. All right, so this is what I put here. Okay, in the book The Endgame by Omid Scobie claim he did not say what was written in the Dutch translation. Okay, and I highlight and underline a couple key things here. All right, and then I grab another screenshot. No other language edition of Omid Scobie's book Endgame did contain the same naming of royal initial. So pretty much what they did here with the book, whoever they were able to, I guess, convince to put the false information in there, they did it. Okay, let me just say. That's it.
The book's available in a number of languages, and unfortunately I can't speak Dutch, so I haven't seen the copy for myself, but if there have been any translation errors, I'm sure the publishers got it under control. For me, I edited and wrote the English version. There's never been a version that I've produced that has names in it.
All right, let me move on. Let's go to the next tweet. Did I read enough of the comments here? Go back. Okay, if I were Harry's brother, I would be helping him. Okay, I read that. It's highly triggering and engaging. The criminals, especially UK disgraceful racist media, denigrating Prince Harry when he's the only one in that wretched family that lives and breathes integrity. That's for sure. Criminally guilty of what? He's never even been charged, let alone being found guilty. Who? Are they talking about Andrew? But they never let it prosper. When there was investigation, they let it go. And when it comes to the US with Virginia Giuffre, if this comment is talking about Andrew did everything that he could do under his power and the amount of money that he has for the thing not to go to court until he had to settle. True, but who says Harry and Meghan with dwindling finances won't do something similar? What? He's desperate for IPP, which, okay, Meghan and Harry are not into all of that. All right, let's go to the next tweet. Okay, it's another video. Okay, so this one is 1 minute and 15 seconds. Diana lost her HRH title for what? Going a bit too far, and what she said. Sheila Fogati wonders how strongly King Charles will come down on Prince Andrew in the future. Okay, 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Primarily, what we should take away from this and conversations we should have from this should be about victims of abuse and how allegations are dealt with and received and how alleged victims are treated. And I think it's about the royal family and the place it has and that tug of war that clearly exists between the King and the Prince of Wales over just how hard to be on Andrew. And given what happened to the Princess of Wales, to the former Princess of Wales, to Diana, losing her HRH title, for what? Doing the Panorama programme? Going a bit too far in what she said? Criticising Charles? Yes, she did all those things. I think Panorama was ill-advised on her part, but she lost her HRH for that.
The Panorama interview was necessary. Was necessary because of all the things. Because Charles had pretty much the media at his fingertip.
Do you really believe that a campaign was being waged against you?
Yes, I did. Absolutely. Yeah.
Why?
I was a separated wife to the Prince of Wales. I was a problem. Full stop. Never happened before. What do we do with her?
Can't we pack her off to somewhere quietly rather than campaign against her?
She won't go quietly. That's the problem. I'll fight till the end.
I mean, all I could say is that I mean, there is no truth in so much of this speculation. And Mrs. Barker-Bowles is a great friend of mine. I have a large number of friends. I'm terribly lucky to have so many friends who I think are wonderful and make the whole difference to my life, which would become intolerable otherwise.
And then she was the only one who was doing the pushback. It was necessary. This is the same thing they were trying to do with Harry and Meghan. They keep on punching, and they did not want Harry and Meghan to punch back. So I think Princess Diana did what she had to do. And then you have the stupid son, William, to go on national television to disregard his mother's voice and then calling her paranoid. But Princess Diana did what she could at that time with the resources that she had. But let's continue.
And he's still got his, after these allegations, and a £12 million payout. No wonder William's spitting feathers. I suspect he's just thinking, if my mother can lose her HRH for just rattling a few cages, he can lose his for this. And he's right. William, I think.
William didn't say shit. What happened is that William is trying to do what... William wasn't really thinking about his mother and that situation. He already called her paranoid, throw her under the bus. William's focus, in my humble opinion, is to get to Harry. Okay? Whatever he's gonna do to... If Charles die and William become king, whatever William's gonna do to Andrew is because he wants to do it to his brother. But the difference between Andrew and Harry, not only morally, integrity completely different. Harry doesn't care about those titles. He could do without the title. You see him doing the things that him and his wife are doing. They don't need the title for that. But Andrew does. Alright? So William's focus, in my humble opinion, is whatever he's gonna do to Andrew is for him to be able to do it to his brother as well. But the difference is Harry doesn't care. Unlike Andrew, who cares about the titles and all those peerage type of things. Let's finish this.
William would be right to say that. But the king would probably, again, I don't know, but my sense is the king would probably not want to do that to his brother. To reduce him amongst his siblings in that way. That's my sense. But he may be forced to. Who knows?
And William could learn in that aspect from Charles in terms of siblings. If Charles doesn't want to do that to his brother, this is one thing he could take away from Charles. Not to do certain things to his brother, but William doesn't care. And I think Charles doesn't want to do certain things to Andrew because Andrew knows too much. Andrew knows too much. If he does something to Andrew, remove titles or whatnot, he probably gonna write a book and things gonna come out. Because right now Andrew's probably protected under Charles, and Charles probably give him whatever money under the monarch type of things. So he wants to be funded. Diana did not go far enough, and look what happened to her. They call her crazy, mentally unstable, got to the press to harass her and bully her just like they now do to Harry and Meghan. This is what abusers do. Okay, I agree with her. And this is what I'm saying. It was necessary.
Then I was unwell with postnatal depression, which no one ever discusses postnatal depression. You have to read about it afterwards. And that in itself was a bit of a difficult time. You'd wake up in the morning feeling you didn't want to get out of bed, you felt misunderstood, and just very, very low in yourself.
Was this completely out of character for you?
Yes, very much so. I've never had a depression in my life. But then when I analysed it, I could see that the changes I'd made in the last year had all caught up with me, and my body had said, we want a rest.
What was the family's reaction to your postnatal depression?
Well, maybe I was the first person ever to be in this family who ever had a depression or was ever openly tearful. And obviously that was daunting, because if you've never seen it before, how do you support it?
What effect did the depression have on your marriage?
Well, it gave everybody a wonderful new label. It's Diana's unstable and Diana's mentally imbalanced. And unfortunately, that seems to have stuck on and off over the years.
Okay, Prince William drove Prince Andrew in his car with Kate from church just 2 years ago. The article said that it was a sign of togetherness. The newspaper The Royal Family leaked to. Article said he'd rather live next door to Andrew than Harry and Meghan. Hard to believe he's angry now. Alright, Charles will do nothing. He invited these blackmailing operatives into the firm. Their greed, arrogance, and entitlement has left them vulnerable and useless to act. I remember the first time I came across, while I started looking into Harry and Meghan, when I saw the royal family was hiring politicians to be in the palace, I was like, oh my God, why would they do that? Because the royal family is that sacred type of thing, and they're letting these vultures in who's about backstabbing to get political points. And now once they saw how the institution, the royal family works, they went to work. I agree with this. It's in one of my videos, probably maybe on PYTE. Yeah, get those people and work for them, and this is what happened. All right. What this lady is talking about, Diana lost her HRH title because she got divorced, but she still kept the Princess of Wales, a completely different story from Andrew. And what does William have to do with this story? He's just doing PR on how to modernize the monarchy. I also want to know why the British media has been running a protection racket for Prince Andrew, supposedly acting as UK trade envoy, will line his pockets with money from Middle Eastern dictators. There's that as well. It's confusing looking from the outside as to why British media is trying so hard to push William out front as the moral high, yet the evidence shows something other. What's SA? Sexual abuse. Should be a non-starter. Royal family, media, and the Met all swept it under the carpet until it started piling up. She tagged the person. Panorama interview ill-advised. Why is that? Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Diana spoke the truth of her experience. What she said in the Panorama interview was in line with what she previously said in Martin's book. Was Charles' interview with Dempsey a year prior ill-advised or no? Alright. People are coming about the Panorama. It was necessary. She tagged her again. Let's not pretend that William has a problem with Andrew. He agreed to appear with him in public several times and driving him to church, and a sign of togetherness, allowing him to lead the royal to church service at Windsor. Typical PR spin in his favor. Andrew, Harry, and Meghan should all lose their title. It doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I want for them to take their title away, because there would be no connection at all. Let me see, there's one comment on this. Stop putting Harry and Andrew. Harry isn't a pedophile. Let me pause for a second. Alright, this is what I wrote. I don't know why you people keep on putting Harry and Meghan in the same category as Andrew. At this point, the British royal family, Parliament should take their titles away. That way, they have no connection with the mess in that island. By doing that, all others can lose their titles as well. Harry and Meghan can do without the title. Titles. Alright, so that's that. Let's go to the next tweet. Let's pause this. Another video. This one is from Sky News. The members of the royal family are not above the law, and it's time the authorities realize that. Prince Andrew's biographer, Andrew Loney, says there is a case for the Met to reopen any investigation they have into the prince. Let's see here.
Well, I think the only way the story will go away is if he leaves Royal Lodge, goes into exile abroad with his ex-wife, and is basically stripped of all his honours, including Prince Andrew. I think people find it pretty appalling that, he's given up a dukedom, but he's still Prince Andrew. He should be an ordinary citizen. I think also there are good questions about whether he should be investigated by the authorities. National Crime Agency wanted to do this 20 years ago. I think that there's a case for the Met to reopen any investigations they have and to be open now about whether they actually properly investigated him the 3 occasions that they claim they did so. The members of the royal family are not above the law, and I think it's time that perhaps the authorities realise that.
For 20 years, this has been going on. the investigation, that is, but those kind of lifestyle, those behavior have been going on for a very long time. Okay? The Seville guy and some other people that associate with the royal family. It's been going on for a very long time. But the investigation that has been going on for 20 years, that's what I was referring to. Having fun, the people partying. I have pictures of him with women. You see his face at the camera. He was having fun. Meanwhile, they were framing him. Oh my Lord. Andrew still lives in Royal Lodge. That was a video that I came across yesterday. He didn't lose anything. They just said, but he didn't lose anything. Andrew still lives in Royal Lodge with pool and driving range. He still benefits from taxpayer-funded security. He still refuses to answer FBI question. Well, at this point, forget it, because the kind of administration we have now in the U.S., it doesn't matter anymore. Okay, if the U.S. get back on track at some point with reasonable, well-minded people, maybe, but right now it's the same group. His buddies are in control in the U.S. Read, no longer HRH, but still untouchable. Prince Andrew's title surrender is not justice. All right. Oh, shoot, I didn't want to read this. I'll leave the link in the description. I thought that was a screenshot of something. All right. Also, Andrew Loney is a Republican. He does not care for the royal family. Every member of those senior royals need to be investigated for their illegal, complicit, and criminal acts. Shame on the UK media for forming a protection racket around the evil institution. I mean, it was designed for that. This is why they have their people at every offices of authority, so they could turn a blind eye. And they all the same group of people, their buddies. None are brave enough to expose Prince William's role and cover up 11 years ago. Oh, what happened 11 years ago? Okay, I spoke about this in one of my videos. Buckingham Palace threatened ABC to kill Epstein linked Prince Andrew's story, anchor recorded as saying. That was back in 2019. Hiding behind a headline, Telegraph journalists conveniently spin court's claim against Prince Andrew's accuser. This is a straight news report, says Camilla Tomney, spent and 45. This is not fine. Wow. Oh, that was back in 2020. All right. Wow. It's a whole bunch of mess. They've been doing this forever. They are not. The thing is, it never made it to court. She clearly wanted money because of it were... Okay. She clearly wanted money because if it were me and I was 100% truthful about what happened, I would have rejected the money and gone to court. She chose a payout, and then book deal says a lot, really. Well, it's a lot of things. The thing that they were putting her through, I covered this before it. I think this was the last result for Andrew, where he had to settle because he did everything. He even what was that? Accused the constitutionality of the New York law because the governor had signed something to extend the Child Act, where if a child was abused, they could. I think he extended. Just look at the screen. I think I talk about it. But why blame the victim here? Are you the one who's going through all of those things? And a book deal with no juicy revelations about Prince Andrew. But disappointing for sly news and scum media. It just proves even more the whole story is bullcrap. Virginia Giuffre couldn't go to court. She did what she had to do. Unlike some others, she did what she had to do. When you're dealing with all these powerful men, and she was holding her ground. It was until last minute when Andrew can't find any more excuses. The same thing can be said about Andrew as well. The same thing can be said about Andrew. If he felt like he could do whatever, why didn't he go to court to clear his name? The same thing can be said about him. It's a matter for the royal family, says this person here. Richard Manley asked her whether she would want to strip Prince Andrew of his title of Duke of York in Parliament. Let's see, 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
He is still a duke. He is still the Duke of York. He hasn't actually lost that title. It's simply been parked, put into abeyance. And there is a growing clamour, I'm sure you'll be aware of it, that since that was announced on Friday, a growing clamour that actually that's not enough, that this needs to come before Parliament, which is the only organisation, the only body that could actually strip him of the title. And it would have to be referred to Parliament by the King. Now, the speculation is that the King didn't want to do that because he didn't want to waste parliamentary time. But it's emerged, now that this is being examined, that it wouldn't take much time at all, just a couple of hours. If it did come before Parliament, would you welcome it?
Well, these are matters for the royal family, and you'll appreciate there are limits in what I can say, because these are matters the royal family would have to...
There's a limit of what you could say. Wow. Like this comment say here, so who runs this country? Pretty much the king. It seems like. This is not the first, I guess she's a elected official. There was another video that I did yesterday. Another elected official was saying the same thing. Wow, they're shifting all the blame to Charles now. Everything is going to his shoulders, especially with heavy security. Okay, let's continue.
Set out. It's not the business of government to routinely involve ourselves in matters concerning the royal family. That's the way it's always been. The royal family don't involve themselves in politics, and therefore the government we don't involve ourselves in the rule that the royal family carries out on behalf of our nation.
But isn't the royal families getting taxpayers' money? So this is when it gets muddled. Wow. Okay, they're really getting... This has to be with the people now. If nobody can do anything, the people have to go out and say something. Wow.
Have to be guided by the royal family in any further decisions in this area.
You say it's matters for the royal family, but, you know, let's not forget that the royal family are funded by the taxpayer,
Thank you.
They? And there are lots of people saying that this situation is a stain on Britain right now and that more action should be taken.
As I say, we would have to be guided by the royal family on all of this.
Wow.
We do support the statement that the royal family issued, that those titles are no longer being used, but anything further we would need to hear from them. It's not for government.
That's the question, and I don't think it's a difficult one, really, just to simply say to you that if you were guided by the royal family, i.e. the King, and this were to be laid before Parliament, would you be comfortable, would you welcome the opportunity to strip Andrew formally, properly, of his title as Duke?
I mean, you're inviting me to comment on a hypothetical that hasn't happened, so you'll forgive me. I'm not going to do that. All I can say is that we'll be guided by the royal family in the approach that they're taking. That's been the long-standing way that things have been done in this country.
The generic talking point. Wow.
He is still
This
a
is
duke.
sad. This is sad. Okay, my thoughts are with the victim and the sad loss of Virginia Giuffre. May she rest in peace. The truth will always reveal itself. Pedo Andy should be in jail. Prince Andrew believed having sex with me was his birthright. Wow, Virginia Giuffre on her abuse at the hands of Epstein, Maxwell, and the king's brother. Very sad. Can't help but feel sorry for Eugenie and Beatrice and all of this. I can only think what Andrew might do to himself if there was a possibility he could serve time behind bars. This isn't going to end well. It's a matter for the police, isn't it? But they're saying everything goes to the king, to the monarch, so it's not going anywhere. All right, time to consider abolishing the monarchy that costs us £500 million per year. Maybe that's the point that these people are trying to do. Maybe every elected officials is saying it has to do with the royal family, including with heavy security. They're blaming it to the royal family while we're seeing there needs to be justice somewhere, but they're shifting everything to the royal family. So they really want the public, the people, to get upset and get rid of them. It's like everything is in a shackle. Wow. He'll be a Labour MP by Friday. They seem to like his sort. Keir will cover it up like he did with Nick Brown. I mean, we could say, I'm not in the UK, all right? But from what I'm seeing, the Labour and, Tories, same thing. Almost the same. They just know how to play the game. Let's leave that alone. Next tweet. I think that is another video. Oh, maybe not. Anyone remember the police report that says the Duchess of Sussex attended that protest during lockdown when it was actually the Duchess of Cambridge? Yeah, I remember. I talk about it. I have a video. I remember the thumbnails of it where she was that something Everest that happened? And she's walking by the memorial and there were people who were arrested. Okay, I remember. UK Prince Andrew asked police to help smear sexual abuse accuser, newspaper says Reuters. All right, so this tweet is responding to that. Anyone remember police report about that? All right, yes. I wonder if the Met Police has changed the documents yet. Meghan was 5,000 miles away in California. Meanwhile, Kate went out and used a dead woman tragedy for PR. And this is what I'm saying. I want them to put the bully allegation out. Make it public, for the public domain. Because these people always try to change things. But anything that is negative about Meghan, they just leave it there. Just pointing out that the pedo is not the only one that used the Met for their means. I think about this all the time. Mumbles didn't wear a mask so everyone will know it was her. And then the police report said it was Meghan even though she was in California. Yep, we all can see the smearing and the tactic that goes on when a system wants their target silenced. So the royal family do partake in smear campaign. They do have the ability to do that. Interesting. Yes, the Sara Everett, that's what I remember. The Sara Everett video, remember it like it was yesterday. Despite being told to stay away, she turns up. Okay, I was actually thinking about it yesterday. I think they never corrected that, so shameful. Andrew also attempted to employ a trolls account to attack Virginia Giuffre. That is sad. They use her, they abuse her mentally, and they did physically. Oh, God. Alright, next tweet. My 14-year-old daughter came home and said, "Is mom going to be taken away?" A tearful caller Neil worries about whether his wife will be allowed to stay in the UK under the reform government. Okay, so this seems to be a different conversation, similar to the US when it comes about immigrants. I think I didn't listen to it yet. This is 1 minute and 14 seconds.
I'm scared. It's making my children scared. I'm scared. So just a bit of background. My wife's father is British. She was born in Watford. But because she was born before 2006 and her parents weren't married, she took her mum's nationality, which is she's a dual Finnish-American citizen. Through her American nationality, she got indefinite to leave to remain when she was 2.
Okay.
She's lived in this country her whole life. She has worked in care homes. She's currently working with drug and alcohol misuse, so helping people of our society get clean and better themselves. And my 14-year-old daughter came home from school after kind of hearing bits and pieces and said, "Is mum going to be taken away?"
Because people with indefinite leave to remain have been put on the list by Farage and his mates, and now Katie Lamb appears to be joining in.
She is as mixed as they come. Her grandfather is Indian, her grandmother is Finnish. For me, if you're not white, you're not welcome. And, you know, but my wife is white, but does that mean she's okay? Or does that mean she's not okay?
Oh, my God. What does that mean? This is the thing they've been trying to do. They're trying to create a white world only. They've been at it for a very long time. But anyway, I didn't know this was about the immigration thing. Okay, where is a tiny island going to put all of these people that need allegedly saving from a climate and war? A nation of less than 70 million is apparently able to house billions of people from India. Does England identify as a TARDIS? The thing is reform, and their supporters enjoy the thought of Neil being scared. It's what they voted for. He has nothing to worry about. Reform what follow through on that policy. Look what's happening in the U.S. So many people thought nothing is going to happen, this and that. Nah, these people have an agenda. They remain focused on it. Okay, so back to the Andrew thing again.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.